Today's 1124th day, sharing lessons I learned and continue to learn with all of you. I hope that these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help you to achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today's topic is very simple, very simple. It is ego and fulfillment. We can potentially live life based on ego, based on fulfillment. I think that a lot of times if we don't feel that we're living in alignment with what we want to achieve, there's a lot of times because we execute based on ego, not based on fulfillment. I really want to really dig into that because a lot of times people are afraid of that word ego because it seems that, oh no, you are a very egoistic person. But I think that ego is a great thing because ego brings reality in our world because we need that. We need to understand because ego is like how I compare to others. So this is a reality check sometimes. Of course, if you are in a vacuum and you're checking only yourself alone, that's not good. Fulfillment comes with others. It's almost impossible to achieve fulfillment just by yourself alone. But fulfillment comes from within. Ego comes from outside. So ego is external, fulfillment is internal. So today let's look into what are the things that we need to know about ego and fulfillment. So first we need to understand that ego is necessary but limited tool, as I mentioned. And that means that we always able to see that, okay, so how compared to others? Because ego is survival mechanism. Understand, okay, how I'm able to survive this world is protecting us. But if we use ego too much, because ego is supposed to be just glance, just once in a while. Like almost like when you're driving a car, you're always looking what is in front of you just not to crash. But sometimes you just glance in the back mirror just to make sure that everything at the back is all right. So that means the focus is on fulfillment and then forward, not backwards. And ego is backwards. So that means when you execute based on ego, of course, you're driving backwards. And that, of course, is risky to crash. So I think that we need to understand that the biggest part is that ego is not an enemy. It's not inherently bad. But if you take that as a priority in your life, of course, that it becomes bad. Because ego seeks validations. Ego seeks validation from other people, and that's why we do things just to be liked, get validated, get approved. Ego wants that. He wants that accolades, achievements. Fulfillment needs different kind of things. And one thing is that ego feeds on fear. So like the more you fearful you are, the more egoistic you become. The fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of success. So like so many failures that so many fears that you could potentially have. And those fears feeds ego. Because ego is to protect us. So the more fears you have, the more ego will arise. No, I'm not supposed to do that. Yeah, like I could really not succeed, and how will it look on me if I will make a mistake? Those are coming from ego. And one thing that we understand that ego is all about temporary, a lot of time, short-term results. Protect yourself for very short term. Because when we think about really achieving great success, we need to understand that we will need to take a long-term journey. While ego is protecting you right now. And that's why like it's when you execute only on short-term things, of course, you will never achieve success. So let's look into fulfillment. Now, fulfillment is really the path to inner peace. The path to inner peace. Ego doesn't give inner peace. Ego gives a reality check sometimes when you use it, but fulfillment is the inner peace. So we need to understand that we need to work very hard. That we work from within, not from without, not from outside, but from within. Understanding your core values, your beliefs, your your curiosity, your love, all the things that are internally, all the emotions that are very, very important for us to really make sure that we live a fulfilled life. And if you want to have more fulfillment, one of the key aspects of it is self-awareness. Self-awareness. Be aware of who you are as a person and who you want to be. Because if you do not know who you are and who you want to be, is how you're supposed to be able to live in alignment with your values. Because when you live in alignment with your values, you get so much fulfillment of that. But again, it's not easy. It's not easy to really live based on your values, because we need to really build them. And it's a long-term aspect. That means that you're not able to do one day one thing, that's something good one day, and then for the rest of life you will be fulfilled. No, like it's a consistent journey to pursue that. And I think that when we really live a life with fulfillment, it's so much easier to really build very meaningful connections. Ego doesn't allow to bring connections because you have a mask in yourself. But when you execute based on fulfillment, it's authentic you. And authentic you creates massive connections, because everyone wants to connect with authentic people, not based on ego-related people. So when you think about ego and fulfillment, it always clashes. They always clash because ego wants fulfillment requires vulnerability. Ego doesn't like it. Doesn't want to share openly all the vulnerabilities and mistakes and fears. Ego prioritizes short-term rewards, while fulfillment focuses on long-term rewards. And again, this ego focuses on wealth, like external validations as material things, and fulfillment is always focused, okay, what kind of things internally do I have that is my wealth? So it's peace, joy, meaning. All those things are important for fulfillment. So what happens if you actually focus on ego rather than fulfillment? So it could lead to burnout, because the burnout happens when you really execute on ego, when you execute on the things that actually doesn't give you energy. Because when you execute on the things that is fulfilled, you never get burnout. But like when you execute on ego for external validation, that could lead to burnout, unhappiness, maybe conflict, internal conflict, external conflict, missed opportunities, because now you want to be approved by others. You take some action, but you miss out your own approval because you don't pursue something that is actually fulfilling for you. So you miss opportunities. So how to balance those both? How to balance ego and fulfillment? Because I said that ego is not a bad thing if you're actually able to look into that. Because people who want to compete, and that's a great thing, need to have that ego in ourselves. So number one thing, awareness is the key. Understanding, okay, how much of your life is based on ego right now and how much of your life is on fulfillment. And we're able to really say, okay, I actually 50-50. 50 on ego, 50 on fulfillment. Because it's not that easy that, just on fulfillment, just on ego. That never happens. Some people just are a little bit more on fulfillment, some more on ego. So I think that we need to be aware which parts of our life we execute on ego, which parts are on fulfillment. And being able to really start, okay, I'm aware and I'm able to start shifting slowly to fulfillment. And I think that's when we really want to really shift from ego to fulfillment. We need to redefine what success means to you specifically. I think that a lot of times we execute based on ego because we just do not know what that success means to us. So when you look at, okay, what success means to you and why is that important to me? So when we know that, what's the purpose? It's much easier to really move to fulfillment, because when you do not know that, then we execute a lot of times based on ego. So the second thing that I need to really always speak, and is always one of the best ways to really leave the ego, is gratitude, gratefulness, appreciation, and being able to be grateful for all the things that is happening in your life. It really moves back to the fulfillment, because it moves understanding what truly matters, because you're not able to be grateful for the things that you do not care about. So when you are grateful, and appreciative, and you really like, what I really appreciate, what I'm really grateful about. So that means that now you know what you care about, and you're able to focus on the values and alignment and take actions based on what you actually care about. And of course, that allows you to embrace vulnerability, cultivate more motivation that comes from within, not from outside, because ego is external motivation. Fulfillment is internal motivation, and that is probably one of the biggest parts. And when you are internally motivated, I think that's where people say like a visionaries, when people follow leaders, because some leaders execute based on ego, on external validation. Some leaders are executing based on internal values, on internal motivation. So leaders who really lead based on fulfillment have a lot of followers. People who execute based on ego have employees or some people that they hire. And that's a massive difference. If you want to have followers, you need to execute on fulfillment, not on ego. And last thing that I want to mention is that ego serves, but it shouldn't rule. Ego is supposed to serve for fulfillment, not vice versa. Fulfillment is a journey, not a destination. So it means that you always need to seek that fulfillment every single day. It's like a dance. If you dance, you love dancing, fulfillment is a lot of dance. There's no finish. There's always inner play. And this balance is the key. Being able to still 90% use fulfillment, but always use 10% ego to make sure that you are aware what is going around. Because when you don't have ego, you forget an external world altogether. And sometimes it's important. Sometimes it's important to understand, okay, what other people do and make sure that we are helping society, not hurting society. So I hope you should reflect as well, like, how often do you execute based on ego and how often do you execute based on fulfillment? And this is, I didn't went very deep. I just wanted to get started on really to understand that it is an important topic of ego and fulfillment. Because the more you live on fulfillment, I think that the more joy you have, and the more the joy you have, the more you're waiting every single day to wake up. Because people who execute on ego, sometimes they just don't want to wake up. But people who execute based on fulfillment, they wake up and jump on the bed and they just smiling because they have one more day to execute based on fulfillment. So I hope you just win and see you tomorrow.